Disclaimer, if you think that I'm going to be ironic with this review and that I'm just going to be like, ooh, foot and steel and everything, no, I'm not going to do that. This movie was actual ass, and I just want to share my opinions on it. So if that's not the type of review that you want, sorry, that's just not how I feel about the movie. The Minecraft movie released and it was pretty fucking boring. So I went into this movie knowing that it was going to be absolutely terrible, and with me watching it in a way that wouldn't benefit the studios, I definitely had some ironic enjoyment with it. Not legitimate enjoyment, far from it, but I feel like this is a good movie to just shit on. However, that does not give a person an excuse to actively pay tickets for a movie that they know is bad. Removing the memes, removing any sort of nostalgic bias, this movie is simply terrible, and it is strange that so many people are acknowledging that it is bad while also saying to go out and support it, because you shouldn't support movies that you know are bad. And it's not like I'm expecting a lot out of this movie. I mean, it's the fucking Minecraft movie, but I still think that kids deserve better entertainment than this. And it's sad to see a bunch of people just throw up their hands and just go, who cares? It's a kids movie. While enabling really shitty kids movies and grouping them unjustifiably in the same category as genuinely good kids movies that can be enjoyed by anyone. My first category of problems, let's go over the characters. I think the biggest problem in this movie is in particular Jack Black. You know, the more movies that Jack Black is in, the more annoyed I get at people who defend him. Just because he is an overall, as of writing this, a nice sounding guy, I don't think that automatically gives an actor an excuse to be an overall kind of bad actor when it comes to their range. I feel like he got lucky early in his career because of films like Kung Fu Panda and Nacho Libre, because people weren't that exposed to the guy. But once you see most of his catalog of movies, he's kind of a one-trick pony, and it's more obvious in this movie. I hate the way that he says his lines, where he presents everything in a very condescendingly bombastic way, where it feels like he's trying to entertain a baby with his facial expressions and tone. I know that he acts like this in most of the movies that he's in, but it feels like recently he just ramped it up to a really annoying degree. The way he constantly has to explain every fucking thing in the game as if the people going to the Minecraft movie doesn't know what Minecraft is very annoying. Kids are admittedly kinda dumb in some regards, which isn't necessarily bad. We all have done stupid things, but they're also smart at the same time. It's annoying seeing movies actively talk down to them in a way where it's insulting. I know that it's the Minecraft movie and all, but you can make a children's movie that doesn't talk down to its already dedicated audience. You can still make a goofy kids movie that has some substance to it. I'm not expecting this movie to be an Vanguard A24 type movie. I just want people to fund shit that's actually good for children. Jack Black sings in this movie, and I hate how every single thing that he's in now has to have some sort of singing in it. I get that at heart he's more of a musician than an actor, but I feel like this was the most forced attempt at trying to integrate singing into his films. The songs were so cookie cutter that I honestly kept forgetting that they were in the movie, but when they would pop up they would maybe last a few seconds and then just drop off. It's like they wanted to go for a more musical approach to this, but didn't have the actual balls to go through with it, which was kind of charming in the first place with Jack Black's first movies, but now it's just very predictable and annoying, and it just feels like a roadblock in a movie that didn't need singing in it. He's just The Rock or Chris Pratt now, but without the asshole part being involved. Oh wait, he was an asshole because he threw his friend underneath the bus because he made a Trump shooting joke. I just feel like people like Jack Black just because he has the appearance of being a nice guy. Just don't get me wrong, I think that Jack Black is a completely tolerable actor and has a very small track record of being a dick. I mean, he started his portfolio like a year ago, so. But at the same time, I feel like it sort of shields him from any sort of criticism because people see him as a nice guy. But this had to be one of his most egregious performances ever. His performance is flint and steel torture. Most of the other characters were at best and completely forgettable at worst. Danielle Brooks in this movie felt very useless as a character. You know how there's forgettable comic relief characters that their whole entire job is to go, what the fuck, or that just happened. Feels like her character is just that. She's only in the story because she sold the house to the main characters. Like, there's no connection to the other characters except for that. Like, I'm actually confused of why she's in the movie. There's times I completely forgot that she's there, and when she is there, she seems so misplaced. I also feel that with the sister character as well, which, fuck, I actually can't remember anything about her. All she was there for really was just to tell us that her parents died. That's why you you don't see them in the movie, and for her to learn to not be so overprotective over her brother. And I guess she would be counted as a straight main character. Guys, I'm really trying here. Most of the cast is just fucking forgettable, which leads to the main character that isn't really the main character. The main kid is there to reinforce the point that the kids should be able to be creative, even though the Lego movie did that in a more interesting way. His quote-unquote character growth is really confusing, and he's just uninteresting in general. I think that it's weird that the movie tries to convince us that the main kid is scared of being creative, when the reason his project experiment didn't work was because of these background bullies that messed with his jetpack. It's not the fact that he's uncreative, it's just that the bullies fucked with his project. But somehow the rest of the film acts like, oh, it's just him not wanting to be creative because society, I guess. I don't fucking know. Like, if he was so scared to be creative, then why would he do it right in front of this crowd? His performance is very robotic with how he delivers his lines, but it's a child actor, so the only person that I'm gonna blame is solely the directors and the parents for putting him in something that is out of his league. And lastly, I think the betrayal, it's funny even saying that it is a betrayal, between the Jason Momoa character and the main character didn't make any sense. Like, there's a scene where the main characters are introduced to the main village and they explore what's in the village, but while they're doing that, Garrett convinces Steve that on their way to the main house that they should make a slight stop to Steve's diamond stash, since Garrett has a financial problem. But in the middle of this agreement, their village got pillaged, so they flew off into the direction that led to the mines, since it was the closest location. But I guess we need fake conflict now, because now the kid believes that Garrett purposely split up from the girls because he only cares about the diamonds in the end, when they were going into random directions because of panic. There was no malicious intent behind it. What the fuck is this wannabe third act misunderstanding that is so quick that it doesn't even cause a conflict? Fuck you for wanting to get out of your financial crisis and get diamonds that could literally make the both of you live an effortless life. Man, fuck you, poor people. And lastly, Jason Momoa's character was kind of just meh in the end. His character is just a broke guy that got fucked over in a bid where he thought that he could resell an Atari Cosmos, which he essentially was going to do the same thing to the person that he was going to sell it to, but the movie sort of just ignores that. But I guess that falls in line with him being a desperate dickhead. I feel like there's a few scenes that make you kind of sympathize with him, which is not much, but there's something. But it looked like he was having a bit of fun with his character, even if his character is a one-note joke in the end, and has as much complexity as a character like Yaddle. Who the fuck is Yaddle? I also thought that the whole Garrett wanting a friendship between the kid to be kind of weird. Like, why do you want this one kid's approval so much? It's even more odd that the other characters briefly comment on the fact that he's hanging out with a random child for 5 seconds and then just moves on. How is that not stranger danger? Remember, kids, if you go out to befriend random strangers, you too can have your own Garrett. Can't even say it. Now that I list my complaints with the characters, let's talk about the actual movie itself. Yep, fucking ye. The plot of this movie was a slog to get through, and it feels like a bunch of cliche plot lines that have been done to death before. It's literally just beat by beat, the same as the Jumanji movies, but with another layer of paint. A group of random characters are sucked into a game to where one of the characters have already been stuck in that game for a very long time. They realize how cool the place is, they get into wacky shenanigans related to that world. They realize that the MacGuffin to go home is actually the same thing that the villain is going after. One of the characters wants to stay because of some sort of reason. That conflict shortly fizzles out. There's a one-noted villain that is very forgettable and is just a driving force to move to each set location. There's a third act misunderstanding that gets quickly resolved, and then they go to the real world in the end. Does that sound familiar? Because it's the fucking Jumanji movie, which is frustrating because Jack Black was in the Jumanji movies. The first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie introduces you to one-dimensional characters that they try to flesh out but ultimately give up in the end. I get that it was a section that they probably had to add for the sake of budget, because whenever there's any sort of movie where the characters have to interact with CGI characters, it takes a while to actually get to those CGI characters because it's purposely expensive. But nevertheless, it's still a pretty dreadful opener to the movie. The villain in this movie is really fucking annoying, and there's this one joke in particular that got on my nerves where it was a hidden blade joke that just went on way too long, and how the joke was implemented and was carrying on just felt so pathetic. Like they were so desperate for a laugh. I felt like they were trying to do like a Yzma thing with her, but I felt like the actor just couldn't pull it off. That and the actor had to deal with the abysmal script of this fucking movie. I also thought that the main piglin was kind of annoying. This movie gave him like a dude bro voice, which is his whole entire joke. And just like any other character in this movie, he's also one-dimensional. Like, wow, I'm so sad had that General Chungus die. It was just a one-noted joke that wasn't even funny to begin with. Also, remember Big Chungus? Man, that was so funny multiple years ago. It's honestly really sad seeing the trickle-down effect of older people getting outdated memes from the youth and thinking that it's new. It's like if a caveman was in modern day and told everybody about this new thing called fire. Like, yep, everybody already knows about that. There's a side plot with this random actor that pops up where she runs over a villager and then ends up dating him. Like, I didn't know who the fucking person was, and a bunch of people are like, oh my god, it's so funny because she's in it. And it's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. My only exposure to you was fucking Emoji Movie, which is fucking sad. She's in other movies and TV shows that I've never heard about, but her side plot just felt like it was more filler than anything. I feel like her appearance is solely based off of if you know her, which to the people like me that don't know her acting, I get nothing out of this, so I'm just left confused. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a nod towards older audiences, because like older audiences I feel like aren't gonna watch this unless it's with their kid. So is it like for them or is it for the kid? Is the kid gonna recognize this actor that like only really got popular off of like 2000s movies? I'm just very confused of why she is in the movie and her purpose. But just like the rest of the cast, she's very forgettable. Moving past a 30-minute introduction to these characters, god, that's 1/3 of the movie. The middle part of the movie just felt like it was just vacation hopping everywhere, instead of feeling like a genuine journey. And in every scene, I feel like the movie was desperately wanting you to understand how the video game movie that you took your kid to, or that you already know about, works. There's this overall tone that feels very condescending to where it can't make you even interpret on your own what an item may be or do. Which is funny because it's Minecraft, one of the most basic games to pick up and enjoy. The audience going to that movie already knows what the movie is. They know the shit that's in it. So just let the movie act like it's any other day. And when something pops up that is in reference to the game, it shouldn't be some sort of announcement. Just let it show up and the people that know will know. I don't need somebody to read it out to me like it's a fucking children's book. I don't think it's just condescending towards kids. I think it's just condescending towards everyone. Apparently the director said that the main reason why he picked up this movie was because he can do whatever he wants to the plot because the game doesn't have a plot, which just screams, I'm making this shit up as we go. Please give me $150 million. Why should we reward that type of behavior in the industry? He literally admitted that he did this because it was a lazy project to do. He said other dumb shit like admitting that the movie is anti-capitalist even though it's not, or how this movie that has a shit ton of advertising and a big ass budget is somehow an indie film. Oh, but you're totally not disguising yourself as an indie artist so that people would give this film less slack for being corporate sludge. This film is not being funded by an artist or a person who's genuinely passionate with the source material. It's a desperate director that can't accept the fact that his fame died off years ago, so now he wants to attach himself to something popular for relevance sake. What makes this any different from the Borderlands movie, which also had fucking Jack Black in it, and he was also the worst part of that movie. He was annoying as shit. And it's really annoying because I feel like in another timeline people will be more critical of this movie, just like they were with any other bad video game adaptation that's a skinwalker version of what it's supposed to be. The humor in this movie is so fucking bad. Not even laughably bad, it's just frustrating and cringe-worthy. Oh, didn't you say that you're going into this movie knowing that it's bad? Yeah, but there's a difference between something being enjoyably bad and something just being straight up bad. It has this corporate, marketable, surface level vibe of what being weird is, and most of the stuff that they're doing that is quote-unquote weird feels like something that an older relative sends you in an outdated meme format on Facebook Messenger. The whole joke with the bromance towards Jack Black and Jason Momoa's character just felt kinda weird, because a side of me wants to believe that this is a joke about how overly manly friendships come off as extremely homoerotic, but a side of me thinks that the intentions of those scenes could have just been, ha ha ha, isn't it funny that they're doing slightly gay things, let's laugh about it because it's homoerotic. But I think the punchline at the end of the day is just they're acting gay, which in the middle of editing this, I found out that the inspiration was some sort of SNL skit where it was just the classic like Robin and Batman are gay for one another, even though they have legally distinct characters. But this just proves my point. This joke is 100% just ha ha ha, they're acting gay, which I think is slightly homophobic. I don't really feel like the relationship is a representation of what positive masculinity should look like when the source material and how the movie treats their relationship as weird says otherwise. When it comes to that, it's just kind of disappointing. I don't know, it just feels like a leftover dated joke that was from those 2000s movies. You know the ones I'm talking about. You know, those ones. This movie left me so brain dead that I honestly forgot the ending to this movie. It's just boring CGI superhero final battle bullshit. There's so much visual noise that I just don't fucking care in the end. That Black's character finally finds his dog, which was like a minor plot point in the already scattered plot points in this movie that I don't fucking care about. And what's a shitty movie without the cliche dance number at the end, because fuck your intelligence, I guess. Oh, and the villain Gleep Glorp died, which I'm not even gonna put in the energy to actually look up their real name. Let's move on to the visuals. The visuals in this movie make me have PTSD when adaptations of cartoony source material looks overly detailed while trying to have the same vibe as the original, which always looks so uncanny to everyone. I thought we were past this point of trying to make everything look like a teenager's Unreal Tech demo, which the designs aren't god awful, they're tolerable. It just makes me feel like we're regressing back to a visual style that we thought was a part of the Uncanny Valley, which funnily enough at the beginning of the production of this movie, it was supposed to be fully animated at some point, but then that project sort of fizzled out and sort of became its own thing with the Netflix animated show that's coming out. I mean, I think the most obvious thing to take away from this is that the studios think the animation that looks cartoony isn't marketable to a large audience, but when your movie already has shit like chicken jockeys, I think being realistic is off the table. I remember the team behind this movie did promotional material showing off how the sets are practical sometimes, which is cool if I can actually see the damn thing. The amount of CGI makes the physical sets look kind of redundant when it already looks like they're on a green screen. What's the point of physical sets when you're just going to play CGI over it anyways? So when you mix physical items with dodgy visual effects, it actually makes the movie look cheaper as a result, which I'm not a hater of practical effects, far from it. So I think that they look really fucking good whenever a person can actually nail it down. I just hate that CGI is being placed upon somebody else's work, which reminds me of the green screen. The green screen on the actors are absolutely fucking awful. There are some shots that are genuinely some of the worst shots I've seen in a big budgeted movie in a while. It looks like a fucking Marvel movie. Especially the flying scene, oh my god, that probably has to be the worst scene visually. Every scene has this constant glow to the actors that makes most of the scenes look poorly integrated. Not to mention the sets are lacking any sort of verticality, so I can literally tell when they're gonna run and where they're gonna stop. That shouldn't even be something that I should notice, but I did, and it was really distracting. It's not Spy Kids level of green screen, but sure is getting there. There's that annoying problem with video game adaptations where they add something that isn't in the games, especially to a game that already doesn't really have a lot of substantial updates. Like with the tater tot gun thing and the nunchuck bucket things. God, I fucking hate this movie. I don't know, it just feels kind of misrepresentative of what the game is. Like, you can't make up a random item that isn't in the game. There's only a fixed amount of shit that you can do in the game. So the whole entire you can make anything in this game just feels kind of manipulative and not representative of what the game is. Because let's be fair, Minecraft is very fucking bare bones. There's a reason why people have Minecraft binges that only last for a week or two, and it's that you can't do a lot on it. Sure, you can make like impressive structures and all, but when you look at the actual gameplay, there's only a fixed amount of things that you can do before you get bored. Now, I'm not saying that the game is necessarily bad. I grew up with the game ever since it released on Xbox 360. I still think that it's a fine game for kids to play, but it just feels very basic in hindsight. Which I get it, it's made for kids, blah blah blah, but even stuff that's made for kids has a little bit more meat on its bones, and I think people put it on a pedestal way too much. We need to stop acting like Minecraft is bigger than what it is, and just appreciate it more in a smaller sense, and not in this overinflated way where people are acting like it's a bigger game than what it is. By the way, adding mods to a game does not automatically fix the base game. Oh, and if you say, oh well, you can get a Realm subscription, go fuck yourself. You probably sniff your fingers after you wipe your ass. Now to the only positives that I will give to this movie. I like the two little guys that hang around the main villains. They're just chilling. I thought that reoccurring joke of them constantly having to be with the bad guy was the only good joke in the movie. And the sad thing is, I don't even think it is a joke, because it's already very hard to look for a joke in this movie. And I thought that the tribute towards Technoblade was cute, even if I didn't grow up with his content. When it came to Minecraft YouTubers, I grew up watching an abuser and a mentally spiraling racist, so at least one YouTuber that was nice who died got paid a tribute in the movie. And when it comes to the positives, that's pretty much it. Oh, and when the movie ended, that was also my favorite part. Okay, I'm being too mean. This movie is the definition of a time waster that wastes both the audience time and the people involved's time. We already looked at the writing on the wall for this movie, and it's still fucking there when the movie released, even when we knew that it's bad, and it's still fucking bad. People are somehow now flipping it on its head and saying that it's actually good, even though they keep on saying that it's bad. Like, huh? How the fuck did we get here? The movie is objectively terrible, the humor absolutely sucks, the visuals are meh at best and conceptually terrible at worst. The humor is either front page YouTube levels of unfunny or really embarrassing for the careers at times. Plot was both predictable but also kind of disjointed at times, and I did not enjoy this movie. This movie for me is a 2 out of 10. The only thing that's holding it back from a 1 out of 10 is that I have seen objectively worse movies, like absolutely offensive shit that is the cream of the crop of awful movies. I think one of the most annoying aspects of this film is people's overall reception to it. I hate how general audiences allow mediocre movies like this to flourish. It's just a movie that appeals to parents that think that their child is too stupid to understand what's happening in a movie. Essentially, it appeals to Illumination family watchers. Hell, I'll even say that a Hallmark watcher would probably enjoy this shit, and that is very depressing to realize, because I know that they would think that this is a good movie. I think people are genuinely confused when it comes to supporting bad movies, because you can still like a bad movie and do it in a way where you're telling the studio that you don't actually want more of it. If you had the audacity to go, oh, why use mainstream movies completely dog shit, while at the same time supporting this movie, I will say this in the most kindest way possible. Please shut the fuck up. Be better and expect more from studios. And yeah, again, it's not the fact that I expect anything from this movie. I just think that it's genuinely offensive whenever a movie just treats its audience like a fucking dipshit. Children are smart, and we need to stop acting like they're a bunch of fucking idiots. And it's movies like this that reinforce the stereotype that kids' movies are just slop for children, when it can be so much more. And it's really sad that this movie almost made $1 billion and has a sequel in the works. And I feel like this movie can be actual foreshadowing for the future of movies, because now they can just profit off of being ironic when they're just making a shitty fucking movie. Ironic would mean that you actually know that it's bad, not the fact that you would actually go out and fucking support it, you know? And when the company is in on the joke that, oh yeah, it's totally a shitty ass movie, maybe they just knew that it was a shitty ass movie and they could just pass it off because we live in an age of fucking irony. Maybe they knew that it was shit and then they marketed it as shitty, which they totally fucking did that. Their social media account is literally just a Duolingo account now. And I am aware that this isn't the first movie to sell itself as ironic because of other people giving it that label, but I feel like this is a different case where it shows bigger studios that this shit actually makes money, and it will lead to more Minecraft-esque movies to be made in the future. I am 100% calling it right now. This movie and its projected sequels will be just like the Avatar movies. They will have a shit ton of people watch this movie, forget about it years from now until another one is made, and then it tricks people again into thinking that they like the first movie when it's just bad. These type of movies that are literally just built to be consumed will have a shorter shelf life than my sandwich that has been left on the counter. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to bring up. I hate the fact that people, whenever they review this movie, they sort of excuse the shitty behavior that people do when watching this movie, like throwing a shit ton of popcorn and drinks for minimum wage workers to clean up after them and to disturb other people's viewing experience. Like, if you genuinely do that shit or support that shit, you're not being funny. You're just being an annoying asshole that is only liked by other hive mind people who share your same annoying personality. This happened with the Gentle Minions trend, where people went out ironically to support a bad movie, and it's happening with this movie. Stop the fucking cycle. You're just being an asshole, and you're arrogantly funding a movie that you know is bad. But in the middle of me recording this, apparently there's meme-along movie theaters and sing-along movie theaters that are essentially encouraging this type of behavior. So fuck you, big companies essentially punishing minimum wage workers. You're literally encouraging it at this point, even though you're so against it. Any publicity is good publicity, especially when it comes to fucking over minimum wage workers, am I right? Subscribe if you want to, like if you want to, even comment if you want to. I don't care, you do you, and have a good day. You know how there's forgettable comic relief characters in movies where their whole entire goal is just go, what the fuck? Or what the fuck?